What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode 253. Week one college football is wrapped. Lot to talk about today with that in the NFL. But first, real quick, Everett.
Yeah, what's going on here?
It's time to fight on, boys. I am almost in awe right now of what I saw last night. I'm shocked, absolutely stunned from what I saw from USC. Like I had higher hopes for this USC defense than the past 2 years under Grinch. Just anyone else. I know D'Anton Lynn has had top 10 defenses at UCLA. He's very impressive, but regardless, anyone other than Grinch, I would expect an upgrade on the defensive side of the football. But that happened and some. I was very, very impressed. I will say, objectively speaking, the tackling, yes, much better than last year. Physicality, much more physical than last year. Clearly, they look much more tough. I will say, though, the tackling is still suspect. It is still suspect.
Would it be USC football still
without
suspect tackling?
That's going to take a while. No, exactly. It's going to take a while to get rid of the Grinch stain on the defense.
I mean, I do just have
still
to say,
much better. Still got to get there.
I just want to say, hey, if you're a fan of LSU, I suggest you just become a fan of Tulane because we apparently beat the teams that LSU can't. So apparently, allegedly, there will be a Tulane LSU matchup in the next couple of years. Allegedly, just saying. So get on the bandwagon of Tulane before it's too late. But shout out to Miller Moss. New fan favorite of America.
Slightly concerned on that angle as a USC fan.
Might be rat poison. We're gonna need
when USC uploaded that video of them celebrating in the locker room to get the LSU 2019 Natty celebrate. I was like, that video shouldn't have gone out. That you can't be posting that. We just massive win over LSU. Very big win. Don't get me wrong. But that it's just week one. All right, we got to go to the big house in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Like season just like great win. Great start. Don't get me wrong. Great start.
Yeah,
but it just started. We haven't even played in the Big Ten yet.
You're gonna have to get your insiders in there and let us know how with the locker room.
We're gonna have to find out the ins and outs. But this wide receiver room, oh my god! I'll talk about Miller in a second. Can
we just talk about? Let's start with Hudson.
Yeah, Kyron Hudson, absolute dog. He had 2 unbelievable catches. The first one. So if you remember over the weekend, that interception, that was in my eyes like, oh, catch of the year, got it on that interception. Do you know what I'm talking about? The one-handed.
Yes. Yeah.
Look up one-handed interception on Twitter. It'll be there. Literally not even 24 hours later, that catch got wiped.
Team. For the listeners, which team was that interception on?
I have no. I think it was not as. I don't think it was a. It was a very here. I could quickly look it up.
I got it. You keep.
But anyway, that interception was crazy. But literally, not even 24 hours later, Kyron Hudson just took that over. Okay, it was. Yeah, it was a Robert Morris DB Everett.
Robert Moore, I can't say I saw that interception.
Yeah, I can't say I'm familiar with that program, not gonna lie. But yeah, no, Kyron Hudson, absolute baller. Obviously, everyone knows who Hudson is. Branch obviously made a couple of big plays. Should have housed.
I can't
housed that kick.
I can't say that I had seen Zachariah Branch play before. And now that I have, that might be one of the most enjoyable wide receivers to watch in college football.
Absolutely electric. And as an Ohio State fan, I know it too well. The battle came down to Ohio State and USC for Branch. He was a package deal with his older brother, Zion Branch, who's a safety at SC. They both committed to SC over Ohio State. Clearly, that's a big time miss out of Brian Hartline. Zachariah Branch would be pretty nice with Jeremiah Smith this year. That'd be something to watch. But Zachariah Branch, absolutely unbelievable. Everybody saw what he could do with the ball in his hands. Like that's the type of guy where you just give him the ball One of those
No,
plays
it's a
that caused the
Tyreek
ball.
Hill
Just give him the
playmaker.
ball.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill
Yeah.
playmaker.
Get him the
Yeah.
ball. He's going to make something happen. But like one receiver I really want to focus on, Jacoby Lane, absolute baller. I've been talking about him a lot. He's a guy who was 6'4", put on a lot of weight. Lincoln Riley was hiding him last year. Jacoby had some massive, massive catches in like very critical situations. Like the first really big notable one, it was an RPO. Miller has, I don't know if it was Harold Perkins or somebody else. Somebody's in his face. RPO slant immediately hits Jacoby. No questions asked, going right to Jacoby. And then free play to score their second touchdown. Defender offsides. Take that shot to Jacoby. Perfect fade ball. Oh my God, Miller. Remind me of some guy named CJ Stroud at Ohio State. If you guys ever heard of him, the way he was throwing that fade ball. He hit that one to Jacoby in the corner, and then also Kyron Hudson down the sideline to ice the game when he got hit and held on to the ball at the end.
By the way, on revert view of that play too, he was going to have a dude, I think it might have been Branch, straight over the middle, would have been wide open in the middle of the field. So
yeah, but potentially that too.
Either way, like just showing though, like that the wide receivers on USC are
very, very talented.
Very talented.
Yeah, and like Dorian Singer just left. Taj Washington to the NFL, and then who's at Oregon? Gary Bryant at Oregon now. Lost a lot of big time receivers.
Mario Williams at Tulane.
Mario Williams at Tulane. Thank you. Another one. Lost a lot of production. Didn't seem to fall off much from what I saw.
Maybe they're just waiting for them to leave. From what it sounds like.
Hey, maybe those guys left because they wouldn't be the starter. I don't know. I have no idea. I love Mario. That's my guy forever. I'll never forget what he did in the Red River rivalry.
I thought you were going to say we'll never forget what he did in the Cotton Bowl.
I'll never forget. Wow. I hope Tulane, you guys can forget that. Act like it.
I think all has 100% been forgiven. It doesn't matter if he was playing for us or not. We would. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mario,
you can't trip him for you can't. So
yeah, but very, very impressive performance out of Miller. Obviously, defense looked much better. But yeah, very good performance. Last thing I want to say, a very random thought. But if you're watching this game between USC and a Brian Kelly-led LSU team, Everett, and you're a Notre Dame fan, who are you rooting for?
That's like...
Because I would, at first thought, I was like, of course, whoever plays against USC, root against. But I think Notre Dame fans hate Brian Kelly more than they do USC right now. Because Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, literally told him, like, I can't win a national championship at Notre Dame. I could do it at LSU. I have the resources there. Don't have them here at Notre Dame. So because that's why he left, I think they might have actually been rooting for USC. I think they might have been.
I think with USC not having Caleb Williams and not being like that kind of trend of USC,
Notre Dame
they were
taking
much more
care
okay.
of USC quite easily. I think
they're much more okay with cheering for USC when there's not that kind of narrative around them compared to Brian Kelly. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's a lose-lose situation as a Notre Dame fan, but I feel like USC, for once, might actually be on the right side of things for them. For that example, I would say. But what a game out of Miller. I'm not going to praise him any too longer. He's already getting praise online. He doesn't need to hear any more from me. Next big game I really want to talk about, we have to go over Miami, Florida. Oh my God, Cam Ward. Now. Yeah, what do you say QB1 in this next draft as of right now?
I don't know. I thought we had a lot of amazing quarterback performances in week one and a lot of bad ones too. It went both ways. I would say the only, ironically, the only quarterback who just looked like mid and kind of what you thought was Will Howard.
True.
I would say everybody else either took a step up or back.
We are recording this before the Boston College FSU game, so the worst quarterback play of the week still has yet to happen. DJU has not taken the field yet.
That is true. That is correct. But I was very, very impressed with Cam Ward's play against Florida.
On the opposite side of that, Graham Mertz looked like one of the worst fucking quarterbacks that I've watched this week, and DJ Lagway instantaneously was better.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that Lagway through a pick at the end where I was like, oh, Napier, I swear to God, if you ruin Lagway too, this is not going to end out well in Gainesville.
He's getting fired at the end of the year anyways. You can't.
I'm not sure if he's getting to the end of the year, Everett. I think we might.
You think he's gonna? I mean, I thought
Get
that,
ahead of the coach search.
who
His
was the
buyout's
last
only 26 million.
who was the last head coach that was let go before the end of the season?
So here, well,
was it Frost?
at the end of the year,
Before the end of the season.
before the Frost happened.
Frost?
That was recently. Let me. Who else got fired last
I
year?
really think that, but I'm saying before the end of the season, because most part they're like, yo, this coach is going to finish out the season and then he's getting bought out. For the most part, they let them finish. That's the problem that I'm seeing. I think Frost was done before it. Was it ASU? The guy from ASU was let go midseason.
Oh yeah, Herb Edwards.
Herb was, yeah. But that's also different. Like barring very big controversy, I feel like most coaches finish out the year. So my expectation, I mean, like, look, Florida.
If I were Florida, I'd fire him right now. His buyout's only 26 million. If you fire him right now, you can go start the coach search today. Screw it. If I was Florida, I'd probably be calling up some big time coaches who are currently head coaches. I'd be calling their agents up right now and getting that pen and paper.
Let's you know what? Let's start this conversation. Fuck the Cam Ward. We know Cam Ward's a good quarterback. We watched all that. Who should replace Billy Napier at Florida, man?
It's a damn good question. I'll get to that in a second, but first I want to get to this question. The University of Florida, I believe this is year 3 for Napier.
Yes.
I believe it's year 3. So 6 years ago, the University of Florida hired a head coach by the name of Dan Mullen from the University of Mississippi State. Dan Mullen, in his first 3 years with the Florida Gators, racked up 30 total wins over his first 3 seasons and was fired because the University of Florida believed he wasn't living up to the expectations and standard of Florida. Everett, do you know what the University of Florida did after firing a coach who had 30 wins over the past 3 seasons, who was at one point able to take a Dak Prescott, Mississippi State, and make them the #1 team in the country in the college football playoff poll? You know who they replaced him with? This guy named Billy Napier, who hadn't proved shit at a high level his entire career and came from the Sun Belt. They replaced Dan Mullen with a Sun Belt guy, and 30 wins over 3 seasons. Everett, damn, 30 wins over 3 seasons.
Yeah, 10 seasons effectively.
It's mind-boggling to me how that happened. Now, a big reason I think they were into that was recruiting. Billy Napier recruiting has done an excellent job at Florida. He's done a very good job talent-wise. Florida is very talented. However, Billy Napier has shown an inability to coach and win at this level. His players, Florida looked awful. They looked just not prepared the way Miami was, the way Cristobal can prepare his guys. I would say, like, Cristobal, being an O-line coach, having that O-line background, he was Alabama's O-line coach for I don't know how long, so many years, probably half a decade. Having that experience in O-line in the trenches, being tough up front, that's a recipe for success, especially early on in the year. Like early on in the season when the passing games aren't polished, secondaries aren't necessarily polished, how you can dominate easily week 1 is just run game. If you can block and stop the run up front, it's going to be pretty hard or pretty easy to win early on in the season. Like those foundational core pieces of O-line play, D-line play, it all really starts there. And like in week 1, you could see just clear talent and coaching over, well, Florida still has talent, don't get me wrong, but just a lack of coaching and lack of organization just in that entire coaching staff, team, everything. Florida, it's a wagon on fire right now. It just got rolled out of the castle.
So let's think about who prospectively will be replacement candidates.
It's interesting to think. I'll be honest, I have not quite thought about the coaching in a while.
It is week 1.
Thinking about the it is week 1.
It's week 1. But never too early to start, because Florida really should be starting right now.
Yeah, weird one. I could see Florida just make another bad hire and just taking Drinkwitz from Missouri, who, yeah, I know they beat Ohio State last year. Remember Ohio State? We didn't have a quarterback, but great one, Missouri, great one. I could see him taking Drinkwitz, and they're just kind of like, we're not
You
really.
think that they go
He'll
after
be a step up over Billy
current?
Napier.
You think
But
they go after a current head coach? Or
yeah,
you think they might go after somebody's
I
assistant,
think
like an
current
OC?
head coach. They could do OCDC, but I think they should take a guy who's already been a head coach before. Like, I don't think
I'm going to go with a really big wild card here, Grant.
Okay.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, like I kind of thought of him right away first. Like, we'll see how hey, if he makes Jaden Daniels look competent in Washington year one, then I think he will have some phone calls. We'll like, I don't know if Cliff wants to do that. No, Cliff would take that shit in a heartbeat if he got Florida. Yeah, you take that in a heartbeat.
Urban Meyer returns.
I think Urban's coaching days are done, but I did see message board posts from Florida fans saying, "Hey, he's available, right?"
He is.
Urban's a goat. So I'm not sure how he'd work in the NIL era, transfer portal era. Might be a little.
Well, he's already spending money on players when he used to coach, anyways. Now it's just
true. No, it's more so just players leaving your team and dipping. I'm not.
That would not go
different coaching philosophy and approach.
Yeah, no.
This time around
would not go over well.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't kick his punter.
You could have one of the biggest treachery stories in all of sports. If this happens, what about Mike Norvell leaving FSU to go to Florida?
That'd be so snake. I don't see him doing that.
I also
don't think he should do that. It's easier to look away.
It is just interesting where some people evaluate the SEC versus the ACC and legacy and programs and stuff, because right now on face value, like Mike Norvell probably can do better with FSU than what's going on in Florida, but Florida as a brand,
right now this year, next year.
Right now. In
an ideal world where he can like he has an easier chance of he has a better chance of winning a national championship at Florida than Florida State. Even though it's in the SEC, just Florida has a lot of money. They got a lot of money down there. So it's a very attractive job. It's an interesting one. I'll have to think about it a little more. Let me get back to you on that. But yeah, Billy Napier, your days are numbered. Buyout's only $26 million. That is not that much money. I expect that to happen sooner rather than later. They're probably already beginning the coach search right now. Yeah, no, Billy Napier will be gone pretty quickly. But what a performance out of Miami. Wow. I had some higher hopes for Florida. I thought Florida would win this game. I picked them.
Hey, remember what I told you? I told you last week?
Well,
and you said, no, it's all about the swamp, Everett. It's all about the swamp. It's in the swamp.
No, I get, but I'm just like last week when you were saying like Miami needs this to win. It is an SEC game.
I said Notre Dame needs to be.
Oh, that was
Texas
it.
A&M,
and
they did.
In hindsight, now, I mean, bro, Notre Dame doesn't even have a challenge for the next 6 weeks.
Which is why I said they needed to. Games. That was my whole thing, was that they needed to win this game because there was nothing on their schedule. But the whole thing that I said with Miami versus Florida was you were on the Miami train, and the moment you're like, it's in the swamp. Disregard everything.
This is like I knew going to this.
And then Miami's I said, well, Billy Napier fucking sucks. And you're you told me that.
True.
And I said, it doesn't matter how much bad of a job I think Mario Cristobal has done to this point. Billy Napier sucks more than any physical thing that could happen over at Miami.
Well, that's true, but I mean, you have been critical of Mario Cristobal.
I have, but I said I as critical as I've been of Cristobal, I'm way more critical of Napier, because Napier's done anything Cristobal, Napier has done worse.
Oh yeah, no, Billy Napier's all. I had higher hopes for the Florida Gators, which, yeah, there's no such thing as hope when it comes to Gainesville right now. There's absolutely zero hope with that program. But after those first opening games, like quick little ACC talk. Now, Clemson, Georgia, not much. Georgia obviously
Clemson
looked very good in the second half. Phenomenal. I will say though, what I saw in that first half from Clemson was very impressive. Like, their D-line is real. Peter Woods is a problem. That defense Clemson D-line is real.
Like, it just all fell apart in the second half.
It did, but like, I'm going to give that defense a slight pass because that offense couldn't do, like, Cade Klubnik did not improve an ounce this summer.
Did they have any other quarterback on roster or no?
I'm not sure, but Klubnik is the guy. He's going to be the start. But like, my big thing about Clemson is just the drop off at wide receiver from what they wore when they were winning natties. They went from DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, Martavis Bryant, T. Higgins to like Amari Rogers and shit
you
now.
forgot the GOAT.
Hunter Renfro.
Hunter Renfro.
Well, I mean,
thank you.
But like, I know we're joking Renfro, but bro, Renfro is a good receiver. I know he's washed now, but he was a competent, good NFL receiver. Clemson doesn't have those skill guys anymore. Those aren't there anymore. So it's a very big problem. And hopefully Dabo learns about the transfer portal, because there were a lot of guys in the portal last year that could have been holes that fixed Clemson, made them look better in that game against Georgia. But unfortunately, Dabo's the only coach who has yet to entertain the portal. But like, little ACC outlook, Miami is a playoff threat. Well, okay, actually, the national public saying Miami's a college ball playoff threat. Everett, are we going to say that same thing, or is Florida that shit?
I think,
is this an overreaction to Florida being great, or is it really, or I mean, Miami being great, or is it just Florida's not good?
Well, I think it's both. I think it's both.
Okay.
And I think you can have both. I think you can say Florida's not good, but I also think that you can say
Miami's a playoff contender.
Does have a playoff contention spot. Because
I think at this point, I would probably have Miami the favorite to win the ACC.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that, you know, at the end of the day, playoff contenders will beat up on bad teams. It doesn't matter what conference that team is in. And it's obviously a bad team in the SEC is going to be better than a bad team in the ACC, or a bad team in the ACC is going to be a better team than a shitty team in the Pac-2, right? So, it is at the end of the day, like, it doesn't mean that because they beat a bad Florida team, they're not playoff contenders. And it also doesn't mean that they're playoff contenders because they beat a bad Florida team. I just think innately that they are. They going into the season, there's an expectation for that, and they should. Like, they beat what? They beat Florida 34 something to 10.
41-17.
They beat them, huh?
41-17.
41-17. Like, you're putting up points. Yeah, you're putting up points. So I would say that, yeah, they're a playoff contender. I don't really look at it as it's one or the other. I think you can have both.
Yeah, Florida non-threat, Miami threat. I think that's safe. Like, Clemson, I still expect them to make the playoff too, by the way.
Clemson's getting that borderline for me where I don't know.
I really think they'll get to the AC championship. Yeah, like, I could see them winning out from here. Like, I would just say in the future, don't schedule Georgia week 1.
Well, that, and also, I mean, maybe invest in the transfer portal a little.
Yeah. That's also a great starting point too. Next very big game, Notre Dame.
Let's have this game and then one more game. Let's keep them a little short so we can finish up with something else.
Well, I'll just do a quick look overview of like two here. So Notre Dame, A&M, real quick. I was at this like mini sphere thing to watch this game. Crazy
I saw
experience.
that. Yes.
They had like field level cameras and stuff. It did feel like I was at the game, and seeing the stadium from the live cam in the stadium, A&M was like, that shit is crazy. Seeing how big that Kyle Field is, it is absurd. Like, I was like, what the hell am I watching right now? Oh my God. Like, an entire section are all waving their white like towels or shirts. And I was just like, what? This is, I can understand why it truly means more. One thing I'll say though, super impressed with Notre Dame's O-line throughout the game. A big question mark going into the season was Notre Dame's inexperienced O-line, very young, but it's a Notre Dame O-line. At the end of the day, a Notre Dame O-line is going to be pretty damn good, and they showed that. They, like, as the game progressed, seeing how dominant they were on early downs, getting the ball into favorable situations, I was very impressed. And like, Riley Leonard might have not been throwing the ball too much necessarily, but from that angle I was seeing, he is, like, simply put, he embodies Notre Dame football. Like, that team rallies around him, and like, that team wants to play for him. And even if he might not be the greatest passer, like, seeing him run the ball on quarterback power and pick up extra
Yeah, I
yards,
mean,
fighting for extra yards.
that's the kind of
staying in
quarterback that
there.
you want to have
That's a
in
Notre
college
Dame
football.
quarterback right
Might
there.
not be a first round NFL quarterback, but goddamn, if you have him playing in college football, he will get the job done.
Oh yeah, no, I was very impressed with Riley Leonard, just not exactly throwing the ball, but playing quarterback, controlling the game, staying calm, keeping your
seemed
offense
like
on schedule and check. I thought I did
it kind
very
of
well.
seemed like he well. First of all, I'm just gonna say I kind of there's a specific quarterback I will not name that I know was reached out to by Notre Dame in the past who plays very similarly to Riley Leonard. So I'm not surprised that this is the offense that they wanted to run.
I think I might know who that guy is.
Second of all, it seems like this is kind of what they wanted to get out of Sam Hartman last year, but didn't, because Sam Hartman, obviously, as a thrower, is very similar to Riley Leonard. That's kind of the way that I would explain him. But as a pure athlete and player, I wouldn't say that they're the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say they're like two. So like Riley Leonard, like seeing him run quarterback power and.
But I'm saying as a thrower,
fighting
like the
for
ability,
extra
like
yards, I was
kinda,
like,
the feeling I have as a passer, I feel like is kind of similar.
I can agree with you in the sense that, yeah, they're both below average mid-ass quarterbacks. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I'm not scared of Riley Leonard at all as a thrower. I do agree with you on that sense. I do think Riley Leonard brings some rushing ability to his legs, though. That's pretty. Also, Connor Wegman might be the worst quarterback in the history of football. Like, holy shit, dude.
It was pretty bad.
Oh my god, bro.
It was pretty bad.
Wow.
Well, hey, he's competing with DJU, so
who?
DJU?
Connor Wegman? Oh, as worst quarterback? No, he's way worse than DJ. I don't think that's comparable.
Are we still blaming? I don't remember what his name is, but the Clemson QB coach that like nukes every quarterback he touches.
No. Is
he still at fault here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I guys. God, what's his name? I'm forgetting. I forget who the old Clemson quarterback coach was. Yeah, no, that guy's a bum though. I mean, Clemson, they had absolute dogs at quarterback for their natty runs. Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, those guys are game changers. And before they had Taj Boyd, absolute dog. Yeah, like it's gonna be a little bit difficult with Cade Klubnik back there compared to those guys who are all-time greats. Like, yeah, there's gonna be a drop off. You shouldn't expect the same results as what you got there. Other thing I want to talk about though, Penn State, Drew Aller. I'm keeping my eye on you. In my eyes, Drew Aller looked like he was the best quarterback in the Big Ten this past week. Drew Aller looked excellent. Last year, Everett, guess how many plays of 40 plus yards Penn State had on offense the entire season?
3.
More than that. They had 8, but that's it. They had 8 40 plus yard plays all year. Guess how many 40 plus yard plays Penn State had last week against West Virginia?
6.
That would have been crazy. 4. Still, half. They did half of what they did last year in one game, week 1. Drew Aller does have a cannon. He has a very big arm. And yeah, Drew Aller, respect gained. You took a step up this past year. And I will shut that out. Also, Nico Imaliava. Oh my God. Tennessee playoff run is there. Jackson Dart also. I know they're playing scrubs. Massive step up. Other game though that I need to address.
This is the last one.
Well, I gotta go Ohio State real quick, but Oregon, Idaho. Yeah, Ohio State had that early window, and we were fraught. Yes. See, I mean, it's impeccable timing. This is why we got to move back to fire stations, everybody. Oregon, Idaho, Dylan Gabriel. Well, I don't even know why I started with Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, Oregon. Yeah, no, I'm not concerned. Ohio State, they had their game in the early window. Michigan and Oregon fans were running their mouth. Oh, look how bad Ohio State is. Yeah, Oregon legitimately could have lost this game against Idaho, like legitimately had a chance to lose it. And yeah, Michigan against Fresno State did not look too great themselves. So little interesting there, I will say, but that Oregon Idaho thing, one thing I was looking at last year from Oklahoma fans, they are calling Dylan Gabriel check down screen merchant. Dylan Gabriel had 380 passing yards, over 40 pass attempts, and they only put up 24 points.
Yeah, I mean, he 41 for 49 for 300 yards and I think 2 touchdowns with 24 versus 14 to Idaho. It's concerning considering what
having that
everybody
many
thought
pass
about them coming
attempts and
out.
only that many yards, it's like,
Yeah,
do they not trust him to throw the
we're throwing
ball
screens.
downfield?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're throwing
it's
screens.
it's it's screen offense, screen dink and dump. Yeah, Oregon, I'm not very impressed. I'll be honest though. I'm not gonna necessarily make all my
Yeah, let's
conclusions
Grant.
on them after that. Uh,
Let's get to Ohio State because I want to get to some stuff and still keep us on time.
yeah,
I know you want to talk about the game, but I do want to say one thing that Nick Saban stated on Ohio State, and I think this is an important note. He said, everybody talks about a $20 million roster. You can, buying players, whatever. You do have to remember that if you don't pay the right players, it's not going to matter. So even if you pay someone $20 million, it could mean absolute dog shit because that player could come out and be ass. So
yeah,
you got to make sure you know who you're paying.
yeah. And I think if I were to ask Nick Saban right now, do you think Caleb Downs is worth whatever his NIL payment is? I think he would say yes, and then another yes, almost immediately afterwards. But Ohio State, quick little takeaways. First, I'm a bit of a pessimistic Ohio State fan myself, not going to lie. So I will start off with this. Yeah, Ohio State, for what you'd expect of Ohio State, from what you heard this offseason, no, they didn't play up to the standards I hoped. But any Oregon or Michigan fan right now trying to chirp, what are you talking about? You want to go look at your team's performances versus my? I mean, worry about yourself before you come at me. But with that being said, I'm now about to eviscerate some Ohio State things. First things first, the O-line play. Oh my, Justin Fry, I want you gone tonight. Justin Fry, what have you done in your 3 years at Ohio? What have you done? Because the O-line recruiting drop-off is so bad that I am genuinely horrified of what Ohio State's O-line will look in the coming years. It might be really, really ugly. Very, very bad. And it's all down to Justin Fry. There's that, but also, recruiting is one thing. Recruiting is a more important part. That's one thing. But the second aspect, game day, coaching, development, player development, whatever you want to call it, he has not shown any progress at that front either. At literally zero progress in progressing the O lineman at all. Now, I know Donovan Jackson was out. He's our best lineman. I know. Regardless, it is Akron. I don't care who's on the O line. Any Ohio State O lineman should be licking their lips before every snap, knowing they're about to pancake an Akron zip into the fourth deck of the stadium. Okay, this should be a game where Ohio State's O line goes out there and they're foaming at the mouth, knowing that they're about to absolutely demolish a D line. That did not happen. I was seeing Akron's undersized D linemen who did not have any backups and they had to play the whole. I was seeing their nose guard, their small ass nose guard dominate my interior O line on blocking plays. Unacceptable, pathetic, gross. Justin Fry, I want you gone now. You're awful. You are so bad, so bad. You don't do a thing for the program. One quick excuse I will give him though is that because Michigan has been cheating and we've been so concerned with sign stealing, Justin Fry on game day has been the main signal caller sign guy on the sideline instead of coaching the O-line. So maybe you get a slight pass there, but I need you to improve this team offensively up front because I have not seen any progression since you've taken over as O-line coach. So gonna need something there. Other thing, Will Howard, I'm gonna compare this first to CJ Stroud and Justin Fields. No, he's not even remotely close to them. Not even remotely close.
I mean, I'd be surprised if he was.
Obviously not. No, he's not as good as them. From what you'd expect out of an Ohio State quarterback, no, he's not there. But compared to Honda McCord, yeah, upgrade. Compared to Kyle Midcord, yeah, that's an upgrade. Any fan trying to tell me, be careful what you wish for. Look at Kyle right now at Syracuse. Bro, the amount of missed passes and missed reads I saw from Kyle McCord last year, awful footwork, not knowing how to move in the pocket, simple, basic, tiny quarterback things that he did not progress at all throughout the same mistakes he was making week one, he was making against Michigan. Yeah, no, Honda, we're done with you. Get out of here. We're done. But yeah, Will Howard, not as good as what you'd expect, better than Honda McCord. Final verdict, he's mid. Will Howard is mid. But that's all we need. Ohio State just needs a mid quarterback. We're not, if we had a great or good quarterback, then it's officially over.
Yeah, if you had Cam Ward right now,
over. Done. Wrap it up. It's done. But with Will Howard, I'm still feeling pretty good. Other thing I will say, Jeremiah Smith is the best skill player on Ohio State. Some people, this may be a hot take, like Quinshawn Judkins there, Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka. From what I saw from both the coaches and the players, they believe Jeremiah Smith is the best skill player on the team. First play of the game, screen to Jeremiah Smith, which he dropped. It's right in his hands. Perfect screen pass out of Will Howard, which is what we need. Perfect screen passes. I want that. That's not a knock. That's a good thing. He would have housed that, but he dropped that. And my first thought was, okay, get him involved, make him feel good, get the ball to him, make him feel like he's part of the team. That's what I thought. I thought it was in a way a little Make-A-Wish target. And then the game progressed and I was like, oh, this isn't like get the new guy some touches. No, he is the offense. That first half, Will Howard
slapping people over there.
Will Howard only targeted 2 receivers 10 plus yards downfield until the third quarter. Emeka Egbuka was first. The second was Jeremiah Smith. Emeka got 1 target, 10 plus yards. Jeremiah got 5. Now that could be force feeding.
He was like 4 for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, like now that could be force feeding. Okay, but to me it looks like Jeremiah Smith is Will Howard's most trusted wide receiver on the team. That's what that showed me. But also from the coaches with the screen, the fade routes at the end, like they were dialing Jeremiah up. It seems to me that both Will Howard and the coaches believe Jeremiah Smith is the best wide receiver on the team. And so Everett, if Jeremiah Smith is the best wide receiver on Ohio State, I'm not even trying to sound like an Ohio State fan, but by nature, at minimum, that makes Jeremiah Smith a top 5 wide receiver in the country.
I mean, you would hope so. You would say so. At least as an Ohio State fan. I don't know how everybody else kind of feels, but I mean, look, I think we need a little bit more time than 1 week, especially 1 week versus Akron to make a determination. I think maybe,
it might take a month for you to get that evaluation because we don't play a team with a heartbeat until Oregon in week 7. So.
Like right now, after what I saw, like I would say Zachariah Branch probably is in a conversation right now, or at least as a playmaker. Like you can't really make a decision off of 1 week, especially depending on your opponent. What I can say, though, is Oregon may not have the number 1 wide receiver core in the Big Ten after this week's demonstration. So,
yeah, might not be true.
TikTok fan base might have gotten you on that one.
That might not be true. And shit, it might be, I'd say after that first week, it's the University of Southern California for the Big Ten.
It might be USC.
Yeah.
USC.
After week 1, I would say it's Southern Cal. Who's got the best
Hudson's
receiver.
catch alone might guarantee. That's a lot.
Hudson, Lane, Deuce. That's a lot of receiver production. I'm not. Until I really see it, I'm gonna go with that. But those are kind of.
What we'll have to do, Grant. You know what we'll have to do is we're gonna have to do updated position rankings.
Yeah.
Not every week, but like at the end of the month or something, we'll have to do it.
Yeah.
But Grant, last thing, I mean, we got a couple more minutes here. Last thing that I really want to talk about, on Thursday or whenever, I guess maybe Saturday, whatever day the episode is going to go up on for the second episode this week, we'll obviously look at least Sunday's games, if not Thursday, Friday. But some NFL stuff. Grant, there's been a lot of stuff coming out by the Vikings this week. I saw somebody say if the Vikings end up, in a top 5 pick situation, they might draft another quarterback. I saw somebody saying the Vikings will end up with a first pick and should draft Cam Ward. That's its own thing. Those people are fucking idiots. All right. This is a different thing. We're going to talk about Mike Zimmer for a second. Okay.
By the way, I'm not sure if Cam Ward is from the NFL's eyes. I'm not sure if he's the number one quarterback. I think Drew Aller
like Phillip Rivers
is more impressive than Cam Ward from an NFL perspective, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's also other quarterbacks in this class. You got Drew Aller, you have Cam. Like, this class is kind of quickly becoming the inverse of what people thought it was going to be.
Well, I'll need to see some more season.
We'll need some more, but after week 1, I mean, Miller looked great, Cam Ward looked great, Drew Aller looked great, Shedeur looked good.
Yeah, one thing I will say about as a
Ewers
team,
looked good.
Colorado might not be too good, but Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn are very good football players. Then
Shiloh, though, not good.
I mean, from what I saw from the 6 late hits, I genuinely believe in film. I genuinely believe Dion gave him a pat on the back and said, good hit after, because he clearly isn't punished for that. Clearly nobody punishes him for those late hits. That's why he keeps doing it. And so it wouldn't surprise me if Dion can actually rewards him for
back
those
in
late
my
hits.
day. That was normal.
I could so see Dion literally say, hey, back in my day, that's not a flag. So fine by me. It's like, no, that's awful.
Like, advice. No, Shiloh's not going to get drafted until round 7, and he's only going to
getting drafted.
No, he's getting drafted because his last name is Sanders.
I don't think he's getting drafted. He's not great.
Can you imagine?
Shedeur, though? Yeah, Shedor's
Could you imagine, though, Dion was like, yeah, my boy Shiloh, Shedeur, Travis are only going to a certain team. Shiloh just doesn't get drafted at all. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Dion's already said only 4 teams Shedor's playing. He's already done that. He's already been on that.
I'm talking about Shiloh here.
Well, Dion knows about every time he addresses Shiloh, he's like, now don't forget about Shiloh too. He's going to the. Come on, Dion. Come on.
But yeah, so let's talk about Mike Zimmer for a second. Kind of connection with Dion, but there's a lot of things, that came out this week about the Vikings, about the Mike Zimmer's relationship with Rick Spielman. I think the funniest thing of all this is Chris Boyd just got a fucking heater from nowhere from Mike Zimmer. Just got torched for absolutely no reason. The second thing was Kellen Mond came out, and Kellen Mond was like, never exchanged words once with Mike Zimmer. Never talked to him one time. And Mike Zimmer, apparently, when Rick Spielman drafted Kellen Mond, Mike Zimmer walked out of the draft room, the war room, left the building, and didn't return any phone calls. Just didn't say anything. And apparently Rick Spielman was trying to trade up for Justin Fields that year. It was made very clear quickly. Mike Zimmer did not want a quarterback there. His whole thing was like, why the fuck are we drafting offensive players when we need defensive depth? Because you signed Kirk Cousins. What the fuck are we doing? So yeah, but he wanted to keep Case Keenum. The biggest thing out of this is just he is one of those guys where at the start, great, but he's a hard ass coach and it goes sour quickly. He apparently was asked if he wanted to address the team after he was fired. And
That's what I'm reading right now.
He said, fuck no, they got me fired. And he has not watched a single game of the Minnesota Vikings since then.
And that team went 13-4 the next year. Minneapolis Miracle, right? That season?
No. That was with Zimmer. Miracle was with Zimmer. That was the first year with
KOC?
With AOC. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it's how either Rick Spielman or Mike Zimmer thought that they were going to retain the jobs, which, by the way, I commend the Wills for firing them. If this came out and we learned that they kept him on for another year, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? So
honestly, though, that is interesting to me because he was in Minnesota for a while, and he had a good amount of playoff appearances.
2014 was his first year, and he got fired in 2020.
Yeah, so I mean, looking back on it, knowing this information, probably wasn't the greatest culture that he established. But I'm I am impressed that despite that, Vikings were still able to make some noise in those seasons, those years.
I think it sounds like everything kind of fell off after 2017,
Like
like the miracle
signing
year.
Kirk.
I think that signing occurred because he wanted to sign defensive guys and keep it like that's how he's a defensive
Yeah,
guy, right?
of
And
course.
he believed that we made that NFC Championship game with Case Keenum at quarterback, like we made it because of our defense. So let's retain the
And that
defense,
defense
guys.
that year, Everson Griffin, correct?
Disgusting, gross, yeah,
Excellent defense that year.
yeah,
Like excellent
and
defense.
and
My Anthony Barr still there?
Yep.
All right.
But you go and sign Kirk Cousins, and he was like, "All right, now I can't keep my guys, and we're trying to replace him with guys that are like, all right, like that just aren't great. They're just like depth guys, but now we have to start them." So Zimmer wasn't happy, and then it was also Rick Spielman's dumbass would decide to go and draft fucking like he wasn't drafting starters. He was drafting guys to like be depth guys, and Zimmer's like, "Dude, I like you need to help me here. Like I need the defensive guys. Why the fuck am I drafting?" Like outside of Justin Jefferson, there was like nothing defensive to help Zimmer.
Yeah, I would say, like that was an interesting time period for the Minnesota Vikings. Like everything that happened there. Like I'm just taking a quick like look just through your team real quick that season, and like Latavius Murray and Jet and an injured Dalvin. Dalvin got hurt start of the year at running back. Case Keenum taking over, even though Sam Bradford did look very good in those first 2 weeks. I'll never forget Bradford Vikings.
That first game, that season might be one of the best quarterback performances I have seen in one game as a Vikings fan. Literally, week 1, you would think Sam Bradford is winning the fucking Heisman, Grant. Like, I mean, just look at it. Look at his week 1 stats. Just look at that game. Just look at that game.
I'm taking just a look at this defense. Prime Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith, Sendejo, Strong, Rose. Anthony Barr, Trey Waynes, Linval Joseph, one of my favorite Vikings ever, Xavier Rhodes, Everson Griffin, Fight On Dog, a young Daniil Hunter, and who else was a slight contributor? Damn, dude, bro, Hunter was nice that season, and Tom Johnson with 10 QB hits, that counts. So I'll shout him out.
That's their D tackle.
No, that was
the Thunder bucket. The Thunder bucket.
Yeah, no, that was a nice ass team right there with Minnesota. I would say other NFL things. Quick announcement to make for everyone who's either about to have a fantasy draft, maybe just had one, or anyone who has this player. I highly suggest you either do not draft or trade right now Sam Laporta from the Detroit Lions. If you're not aware, I have a history of cursing my 5th round fantasy football picks. This curse began years ago when Jerick McKinnon was a brand new San Francisco 49er.
49er, yes.
I took him round 5. He tore his ACL within the next 3 days.
The season after was that Gus the Bus?
Well, the season afterwards, my 5th round pick was not Gus Edwards. It's a it's a Cortland Sutton. I killed Cortland Sutton. I then killed Cortland Sutton the next year, and I was like, "Ooh, this might be something. This might be a trend." Then the next season, I take Gus Edwards, round 5. Right after I take Gus Edwards, a person in my league typed in the draft chat, "Bro, Gus Edwards is gonna tear his ACL." And I was like, "What? What are you? What? Like, did he just tear his ACL? Like, what?" He had not torn his ACL at the time. He was healthy. And the next morning, I wake up to a tweet saying, "Gus Edwards has torn his ACL. He will miss the entirety of the 2021 NFL football season." And then I was like, this is real. This is now a real curse. This exists. It happens. Shit. I got to look up who I took last year. But last year, I was very aware of the curse. And because of it, I
remember who it was. Fuck. Shit.
I was very aware of the curse.
It did happen though. It did actually happen though. Like the player did get hurt for a period of time. I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
I
Who did
think
you
I
take?
ended up taking someone round 5 and then immediately trading him, and he still got hurt. And I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
as long as you're drafted
we
by me, you're
definitely
done.
stated it on an episode who you drafted. So you
Yeah,
have to
I gotta
go
look
back
back.
and find
I'm
it.
not
But
sure who that
there is a
was.
since like 2019, 2020, every single year
I'd say like 17. That was
without
Jets.
hesitation, without hesitation, round 5 player Grant picks does tear something and is at least out for a couple weeks in the season. Might not be indefinite as it once was, but it is. Oh, they are out at some point.
I low-key think I may have taken like Mark Andrews last year. I don't know if he would have been there round 5. I doubt it last year. After last year, Mark Andrews was like end of
No,
round 3.
It wasn't Andrews. You took. Was it Odell?
Not round 5.
Fuck. It was.
It's more likely than not it's a running back. I usually take a running back round 5.
Yeah. Well, no, I thought it was a wide receiver. I wanted to say it was
I
somebody
don't
on the
remember.
Chiefs, but I can't remember.
I don't think I
Yeah,
would have
damn.
taken any Chiefs last year.
Maybe yeah, it wasn't Debo, was it? Yeah, they got hurt.
I've never
though.
had
So,
Debo ever in fantasy.
yeah, he just does that to himself. So that's his own problem.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
yeah,
I
I
mean,
apologize to Detroit fans. I apologize to anyone
I don't.
who's got Laporte. Oh, you're welcome, Everett. You're welcome. You're welcome, Chicago. You're welcome, Green Bay. I'm so sorry, Detroit.
They don't deserve. They don't.
I'm
deserve
so sorry. But yeah, Detroit has enough good things going for them. If anything, maybe JMO can finally get some targets now. So
yeah, you're gonna run him out of tight end.
no, bro, JMO's running dummy streak routes like he did at Ohio State. That's what his job is in the NFL: dummy streak routes.
But yeah, I mean, no Sam Laporta. So just be prepared if you're in Dynasty. I mean, salute to you. I guess keep him. Yeah, he's gonna be on IR soon. So
yeah, long-term play, long-term asset.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, Thursday night, I think is Ravens and Chiefs. Quickly,
and then Friday's Brazil game.
Friday's Brazil game.
Okay.
I wish that the NFL had Brazil Twitter, but they don't. So
shout out T-Wolves Brazil, man. I'll never forget.
Lamar Jackson is apparently like 1-4 in his career versus the Chiefs. So
that sounds. I bet most quarterbacks have a pretty bad record career against Kansas City.
Yeah.
Hey, all I gotta say, Justin Herbert winning record in Arrowhead. All I gotta say.
Yeah, I cannot wait to cheer on the Eagles on Friday. That was a word I never thought I would utter, but fuck the Packers. So it's a lose-lose situation for me, but fuck the Packers.
Yeah, going back to that USC, Brian Kelly, Notre Dame perspective, as a Vikings fan, there is nothing that can supersede your hate for the Packers, correct? Like there's nothing that can overcome my hate for Michigan. If KOC left today and his reasoning was, I can't win a Super Bowl in Minnesota, he literally says that verbatim, and then he goes to the Washington Commanders, a dumpster fire over you, would you be rooting for the Commanders or the Packers?
Commanders.
Easy. Yeah. Without question. The hate's too big. If Ryan Day left tonight and joined Alabama, I'd be like, understandable.
It's okay. I understand. Noah Ruggles isn't there. Don't worry about it. But okay. Yeah. I think with that, shout out Joey Chestnut, by the way. Never talked about that. 83 dogs down.
83. And I believe
dogs down.
I believe they had a rule where it was like limited water, like limited bun dunking. So like this was really, really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, is it Kubiak? What the fuck is his name?
Kobayashi?
Kobayashi. Any other day would have won that shit.
Yeah.
Would have won that shit if it was any other person.
Yeah, I mean, if it was Kobayashi versus Matt Stoney, give me Kobayashi minus 30.
66 dogs.
What was the hot dog spread? Chestnut minus.
That's what I want to know 13, if that was a line. I want to know 15. If the dog spread was a line.
I'd have Chestnut at around minus 15 and a half.
World record 83. Jaws was prepared.
Oh, Jaws was going bump.
National Food Eating Association or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, MLE, Major League Eating, hit him up.
Yeah. Fuck y'all. Thank you very much. And with that, Yeah. With
No,
that.
that was the perfect ending. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching, listening to this podcast. You want to Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram at Waterboy Pod. Follow me and Grant on Twitter at Everett6 and at Waterboy Grant. We post new episodes every week on YouTube and all podcast platforms. So make sure to check us out there. And we also post on TikTok and on Instagram. So check us out there for exclusive content. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Waterboy's out.